Hello, welcome to VHS. My name is Anthony Pritchard. I'm a new planner for today, and this is our first 8-online event in Election Learn, which we have every fifth Thursday. There's not always a Thursday in every month. So can you grab the rest? Thanks. But when there is 5 Thursdays, instead of taking advantage of it. And we invite everybody to a non-meeting, raise your hand on this is for you, VHS. The non-voting people have something to do with us. And participate. So I just have our next event is on June 7th with Michelle Zeller being a better. And then on July 21st, we have our annual picnic. So that's another time when you guys all it's from 4 to 7. 4 to 7. And Morris Park. And it's most of the year. Our bring kids. Who knows if you can do that too? I have this work at 90 degrees. Watch your neck. Okay, you're in for a treat today, VHSers, because today's speaker is an international author, coach, and speaker. And he tells companies all over hundreds of millions of dollars. I also happen to know he's here. So please help me welcome Knebl.
Bill Gates and Steve he is actually and I don't know what people are, but apparently there's people out there somewhere watching if you're watching it online somewhere ahead. I am studying out of my life for frequent squares to I've been looking forward to this all day long. So we have all day long. Yeah, I got it. Not the hours. All day. I deliver presentations that go about an hour. Days is my life. We have got 2 hours. We are going to okay. I'm going to talk about originally they're young. These jokes. So I can speak at 20,000 so no matter how no matter how I literally so we get questions ideas more I mean like even Google or LinkedIn if you ever have a conversation, I can't but normally I wish I for some reason it's so when I'm in I was I can't say that you know while you can so presentation. This is not that. The first way is why the world to teach them how it works. The best way to teach them is to write a bike on. Okay, so I'm going to give you a really big background on because I need to hear you talk about past. My past is a lot of concepts. What about the show? So I grew up in I was just teaching on crossword. I actually grew up in regular New Jersey and I told you that circular nature cowboys aren't like what I used to do for a living was I used to be a piano player. So that's me right there. About 1978 when I had really long hair, I think about 15 inches long. Ironic. Right before COVID started, I moved from here, from Colorado, to the northern Oregon coast. You just see where the cursor is? That's my house. So that's where I lived for almost the last 2 years. 300 directly over the Pacific Ocean, breathtakingly beautiful. But I came back about 6 weeks ago. I my parents were in the mid-80s and they're teaching for them now. Ironically, left here 2 years ago, attention but life is changing, and now I'm what the heck? When I did 3 years, downstream, they're like, and just in 3 years, it's like a whole different great. But that's where I was. And so in December, 6 months ago, I got about 17. So you guys, so the last 3 years, my hair was about here. So inside, truly the idea is so I played piano for many years. So I had a good job, and the problem was I had not internet. So I had to actually get a newspaper. I don't know what that is, and I looked at classifieds, one job, nothing in the universe could have been more outside of the comfort zone than that. What you do, you have to do. So I cut my 18 year off. I got it sales, but I was blessed. I had some mentors that taught me, and this is why I want to get here, because this is resonating. I want to get this from 100 different angles over this. What my mentors taught me was be very good at what you do for a living. No guarantee of success. That's not encouraging. This is all of it. We're really good at it, right? And I have this naive impression that whoever makes the best pens would probably have the most successful pen business. Whoever makes the best tablecloths would have the successful tablecloth business. A lot of people would believe that, but there's no evidence. Just look around. You and I know people who are extremely good at what they do before. Yet it's a problem. They're not flying. Well, then obviously that's there's no guarantee. So I said to them, kind of closer to a guarantee of success. And they said, of course, you do, you always getting better. But what you really focus on relationships with people. Because if you find the ability on conversations and relationships are really able to deliver the goods, whatever it is, you got success. So when they get sales, they study Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, and the Jeffrey Getter, and there's nothing wrong with those things. I'm not putting those down. But I did. What I did is they tell you about pattern for influence people, and 1936 by the guy and they read it over and over. Well, I did, and I read it over and over, and I went for never having sold a thing in my life. A couple of years later, I was at top sales in those four different industries, including the top sales for an international consultant. 300 sales teams in 15 countries. The reason isn't that we're at screen as the reason I'm doing it is because it's pretty now that the first outcome she's something that has done, right? Just like telling you so you want to shirt. Nobody ever wants me to shirt. Everybody says tell it like it is. You and I have met people that all have we've met a lot of these people in our life. You well. I'm a very simple man. Very evidence-based. That does not mean I don't have faith. That does not mean that I don't have certain beliefs or anything like that. But I'm a very practical man. If you're going to show me how to do something, I would like to know that you've done it and you've done it successfully. Otherwise, it's just a theory. I don't deal with it. I deal with practicality. So everything I'm about to show you is extremely practical. And as Anthony mentioned, I've helped companies create hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and create millions of dollars in revenue. So this stuff. Okay. So people still build conversations, and I continue to do it for LinkedIn. I'm not at all. Not even right. I noticed that. Okay, so I'm not at all. If you can search the internet, you already have conversations. You're based on what I can imitate. You don't have to data launch. This is I went to, oh my God, it's a Rolodex. It's online. It's Rolodex. Some of you have heard of this new breed of like sometimes I say Rolodex on stage, millennials, I feel like, okay. Right? And I have to go away and figure out Google and Rolodex. Basically, it's a round metal and plastic Google business. Well, prior to getting on LinkedIn, I studied and using the Rolodex, right? Network basically. By the way, whether it's 5 people in a room or 500 people in a room, if you say a word like networking, everybody has a different impression on what that means. So I'm a big fan of let's make it simple. When I use the word networking, what I mean is the art and science of creating mutually beneficial win-win relationships. That's what I mean. I don't mean running around throwing business cards at people or anything like that. It's an art and science. So I had studied that. I had gotten good at that. Most people, would everybody agree with me that we humans tend to get good at what we study, and we tend to suck at, as it says in the good book, at what we don't study. We can all agree with that. That's common sense, but common sense isn't common, right? So I was pretty good with a Rolodex prior to getting on LinkedIn. So when I got on LinkedIn, I said to myself, oh, this is going to be a really handy tool in my toolkit. I never imagined that I'd ultimately do a job, all this other stuff. I just thought it would be a tool. And I started using it to get my small and mid-sized business owners started asking me, how do you come in to teach our salespeople how to sell like you? I'm going to go back to 10 seconds. And then they said, just show them how to use it. And at first I said, no. I said, well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a computer. They started throwing money. And then they started throwing more money. But what they said was, teach us how to sell like you. I didn't know what that meant. So what do you mean? Well, so why? And they said, well, can you have a way of selling? It doesn't feel like selling. It's extremely conversation. There's no structure. And it's just very relational. And I hadn't really thought about that. I had to kind of figure out, you could ask a fish, how do they swim? A fish probably doesn't think about how they swim. They just swim, right? How do you actually just fly? Like, I don't know, I just do it, right? So it's not easy sometimes to kind of deconstruct what you do so that you can teach it. But I guess I kind of figured that out to some degree. So got on LinkedIn, did well with LinkedIn, quit my job in 2009, and I've been trying to ask since then. So that's my background. I want you to feel comfortable that what I'm about to show you is not theory, it's very practical. There will be moments when I will say things that sound somewhat philosophical because that's my nature. But I'm kind of proud of the fact that if I say something philosophical, I will immediately back it up with practical application. I'm not a big fan of pontificating on Knebl. I'm a big fan of something like showing how the big lines move. So that, by the way, if you want to take notes, take notes. If you want these slides, email me. I'll give you all my contact information. I'll send you the slides. Have fun with it. Run with it. Do whatever you want. So everything I talk about, whether I'm talking for 2 hours like today or 2 days when I do a 2-day meeting, everything that I talk about comes back to this one sentence. All things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Is there anybody in the room that disagrees with that? No, I have never met a human being in all the years I've been doing this that has ever said that's not true. Because you might as well deny the existence of gravity. You're going to say that's not true. But here's what sounds itself. Really. Just people understanding as intellectual is actually no indication that they understand how it works in the real world. So you told me that online, if you don't have a lot of wait, this is you don't have enough time to think to work all, then you live in intellectual. The evidence that you would have an experiential understanding is when you're not have enough time to work with all the people that are asking you for your time. I want that to sink in because that has a world that has to work in our world. Okay? So there's a little line here. People look at me and they go, oh, he's the LinkedIn guy. Yes, I know a lot about LinkedIn too every day. I'm not as smart as anybody else. I've got some committed brain skills. Unlike Bill Clinton, who swears he I know deeply and frequently. Okay? So it's not an intelligence thing. It's just common sense. I'm not a LinkedIn guy as I am. I call that effect. Be good at what they do, combine it, we never find an acquisition or referral creation against the rest of your life. So it's really about the KLT. For a couple of slides, as I do this, I want to think a little bit differently as I go through this presentation. How do I say this without making it sound? Can I really sound to that business?
Never.
I don't think I can. I can outmove anybody in the room. So here's what I want to do. As I share, I want you to listen to me a little differently than maybe you would listen to most seminars and workshops. Most seminars and workshops, you sit no, take notes. That's okay. But what I need to do is I want to listen to what I'm saying and listen to what teams use. When you put on or whatever, I tell you to do what we call construction analysis. You're putting it on right? Now, for a musician like me, I tend to get deep. I went from A-liner to 7, but I'm weird. I want to listen to these. I want to just let it go. And I want to listen for a few. That's what I want to listen for. Because what we realize when you communicate with other people, whether it's verbally, email, face-to-face, contact, or whatever, you're actually generating a feeling whether you can realize it. And I want you to really listen to the feeling behind it, because that's actually brings a lot of things to you. Most people don't know that. But when you communicate with a prospect, I almost never use that word. People communicate with another person, there is a feeling that's being conveyed. And often, if we don't close a deal or bring on a client that we thought we were going to, we'll often analyze it intellectually and think, oh, my price should have been lower, or I should have done this right now. Actually, it was probably a feeling. It was probably a missing feeling. They didn't connect with you. They understood what you were offering intellectually, They didn't really connect. So I'm just going to show you a couple of real quick puzzles, kind of get you to think a little bit outside of the box and have an insight. An insight is fresh, new. That's really what I want you to take a look at. Not, this analytical kind of stuff. I want you to have using insights. We had a real issue with the big screen, so sorry about that. So we pulled out the monitors, so hopefully you can see this. If you look at these diagrams, Jack, you first chat. You look at these, Jack, they look like different shapes. All of those things, different what answers are different. It's a square, whatever. Have an insight, you realize, well, actually a pyramid. We're looking at it from different views. Until you realize, and the insight, you're at the top, it's a box where it's so I want this. How about this? A lot of people, we're all familiar with the FedEx. But for anybody that is not on this example, have you seen this before? Can you find you see arrow in the FedEx? Most people don't know there's an arrow in the FedEx. Right. There it is. So there's an arrow. It was always there. You just need to see it. But when you see it, it's an insight. Oh, I had never noticed that before. Right? But it's been there all along. How about this one? Well, they're all here with peers. Look at the pyramids that there's nothing around. And that's what it looks like. And if you pull away, you're literally a couple hundred yards from a city with millions of people in it. So you recognize that until you see it. So those are just a couple simple little examples of insight. That's all I want you to listen for insight. And I don't usually run through all my slides, so I'm just going to go right to the bottom line and hit a couple of those. 4 fundamental selling truths. Now, a lot of people that I meet, including myself, are not a big fan of the word selling. Even though I've done very well in sales, I don't really think of myself so much as a sales person. But I'm not putting you down if you feel like you're a salesperson. That's a respectable profession. But I still think that I'm a piano player who's just kind of service life. But I kind of look and notice that there's 4 truths about selling, and if you don't the words sell, you just refer to the word relationship. It will work just okay. Without meaningful dialogue, relationship or selling. Most people I didn't say but it's done relationship. Because I do dialogue. If you're close in relationships, you can fight. You can go at it. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you get that's when it starts to get scared. Most of the people they're not quiet in their head. They're loud in their head. But they're quiet in their mouth, and that is not a sign of good things to come. So it really comes down to dialogue skills. Number 2, when there's a trust, there's no selling pressure. It's so self-evident. When there's trust over rapport, the cat, Christine, like this thing, right? I'm aware. I don't have a filter, by the way. I'm thinking it's probably okay. If Christine and I have some rapport, do I really need to sell her or anything? No. She's told what I have. If there is rapport, it will make my life easy. By the way, this is not about manipulation. This is about sincerity and authenticity. Persuasion and manipulation is a fallback for people that don't know how to build relationships. We go down a rabbit hole. I was talking with one of my coaching clients about this. Financial, get a lot of work financial advice. My coaching clients, so I was talking with one of my financial advisor coaching clients yesterday, and I said, you became a financial advisor. Did you become a financial advisor because you wanted to get into sales and marketing? He said, hell no. He said, I became a financial advisor because I'm good at managing money and I care about people. But the moment I'm a licensed financial advisor, I'm clients. So
So then I started getting more
and with all the scheme about do seminar, do social media,
and he goes, I don't know. I said, well, why don't you call
just have a conversation.
And he said, whatever.
Great.
So I said, did you learn like
your favorite pictures.
by the way, if you're saying anything,
I'm not going to defend you, I'm not trying to defend you, but
I do kind of say a lot of things.
a lot of companies in my life, and I'm not paying attention.
So if there's anybody in the room that teaches elevator pitches, don't tell me. Okay? I said, did you learn about elevator pitches? He goes, yeah. I said, you realize that's all crap, right? He goes, what do you mean? I said, people don't want these elevator pitches. They just want to have a conversation. I said, an elevator pitch is the evidence of your inability to connect with somebody. That's it. Because if you really know how to create this relationship with people, you need something called pitch. And you certainly don't need to yell. But I can understand why they invented elevator pitches, because they were invented so that you could walk up to strangers, you couldn't put out of a line, and you could try to seduce them in 30 seconds or less with how what you do for a living is going to help you. Let me ask you a real simple question. How the elevator pitch is working out? Yeah, if they're working out great, keep doing it. I'm a very simple guy. Results speak for themselves. If you're doing elevator pitches and it's getting you business, don't listen to a word I say. You already have it. But I've never met anyone who's told me that really good. I don't want to do business with. And I'm a 30-day. So the more you trust me, yourself, the more you learn about people, the more you're going to naturally build a relationship. I'm going to show you like 3 steps verbally, and then I'm going to spend the next hour and 30 minutes walking you through those things. I want you to see this works every real world. During time, there's only a handful of people in the room right now, right? My youngest daughter is sitting in the back, she lives in Burbank. 4 years ago, because it's busy week every month that I had my girlfriend, her youngest daughter, also exams like mine. I would love to hear about probably what I can tell you that. And Suzanne, it's definitely well, but but other than that, I don't know you guys, and I don't know who's watching this on the internet. I don't care what you do for a living, because every time you living, I'm going to predict you are going to go through 3 steps. Okay. What I teach as principles. That's why it's principles. Every time I draw this, it's going to go down 100%. Rather than care if you live in Germany or if you live in Colorado, rather than do the same way everywhere, that's what makes it a principle. Most people go to seminars and workshops to learn strategy. And there's a time and place for strategy. But I'm not so focused on strategies. I'm focused on principles. If you can figure out a principle behind how something works, you can apply it anywhere. It won't be subject to the strategy of the month kind of thing that most people in business are subject to. So I'm going to predict that these 3 steps that I'm about to show you are as real in your life as they are in mine. And I'm going to show you lots of examples. Because at a subconscious level, you're probably still going to think there are exceptions. There are. Everybody in the room agrees that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people they don't like and trust. But at a subconscious level, I'm going to predict that you still think there are exceptions. Okay. By the way, the moment you agree with that, the game is already over. All I have to do is now show you how you violate it every 5 minutes. Not even joking. Because that's really what I do for a living.
What I do for a living is I run around the world, I get people in the first 5 minutes to agree that's true, and then I show them how they innocently violated 100 times a day. And they think that their lack of client acquisition and referral creation is based on who's in the White House, COVID, what part of the country they live in, interest rates. But the moment you agree that's true, you can't tell me, oh, Kevin, what about COVID? It doesn't say all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people they don't like and trust as long as there's no COVID. Or as long as there's a Democrat White House or a Republican White House. But at a subconscious level, you will naturally look for exceptions. There are no exceptions. That's why I'm saying double down, as they say in Vegas, double down on that. Because that way, no matter what comes down the pipe, Republicans, Democrats, wildfires, locusts, plagues, COVID, whatever it is, you're still going to go down. Because no matter what comes down the pipe, gravity doesn't care about COVID. Gravity doesn't care who's in the White House. Gravity doesn't care about wildfires. Focus on principle number one. No matter what it is you do for a living, you have to have ways to find people, and people have to have ways to find you. Unless you're Warren Buffett, that everybody knows who Warren Buffett is. Nobody knows who's Warren Buffett. Unless you're Warren Buffett, you have to find people and have to find you. Knowing that we have limited time here, this is one of my whole day or 2 day boot camps. I'm just showing up on things to do this, and I would agree. This is the least level. I would agree with you already. Okay? The last thing you do is where are all the people that I can do this with? I assure you, you never get to go through it. So number one, you have to be able to get them into a time conversation for their ever going to do anything. Now, unless you're selling a commodity, you might be selling it. I don't. Most of the people that are small business owners, they're really in a relationship with business. So have you ever gone on without getting into a conversation with them first? You probably haven't. But here's the challenge. Here's the irony. How much time do you spend studying conversations with them? That's a rhetorical question. I'm to answer it. But think about it. You're telling me, Kevin, you're absolutely right about getting people into conversation skills, but I never made anything about conversation skills. That's telling you. I would double down on conversation relationship. The challenge is most people have not been taught conversation because they've been taught how to have thinly veiled and not thinly veiled sales, which is try for 5 minutes. Unless you're selling a commodity, you're not going to get clients from online. You're going to get clients from conversations. Now, marketing might lead to conversations, but I'm being clear. Right? Again, at the day, unless you're selling a commodity, you're really in a conversation with business. Okay? So it's about being able to get into conversations. About when you take a site. If you can do that, demonstrate there's several ways to do that before we get done. It's really simple. Once you've found people or been valuable, once you've gotten them into the conversation and they can take them off here, you're probably much closer to the goal than you even realize, because there's really only one step in the plan. The third step is you have to have some methods, and I teach some ridiculously simple and effective methods for how to stay top of mind with people, but not in a way necessary. What most people do in attempt to stay top of mind with their process and all sources what else people that they don't realize. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, how can I repel people? It doesn't make sense. Innocent just don't understand. It's so simple. Let me use a metaphor. Have you ever had something about breath so bad? It like makes you I don't think that person wakes up and says to themselves, can I get my I think they just have an understanding. But once you educate, they have this right? They have this rapid, cutting-edge technology, dental floss, right? And if you're local, we have this basketball floor here, right? So once they start learning all of a sudden, prior to you teaching them about that, probably they would start talking very quickly. Right? Then they start using around, and all of a sudden, he's running away anymore. But they just were innocently misunderstood. It's just making sense. You get this? Most people in business are taught a lot of marketing, and again, there's a time and a place for marketing. I'm going to maybe out of the bathroom. But a lot of people are taught a lot of trickery that repels people very well. None of that's necessary. I'm going to show you very quickly a method for how to stay top of mind with people so you're never perceived as a pest, and you're always increasing the KLT factor, the know, like, trust factor. So if and when they're ready to do business, they think of you and not somebody else, right? That's the whole key. Because not everybody you talk to is going to want what you have now. But if I can stay in contact with you without being a pest and without being a nuisance or appearing desperate or salesy or creepy or awkward, then if I can increase some value in terms of know, like, trust, if and when you're ready to buy what I have, you'll think of me before you'll think of somebody else. This is just common sense, right? So that's it for the slides for now. Let's jump on LinkedIn. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being Kevin, I've never been on LinkedIn, I must be linked out. 10 being Kevin, I consider myself a 10th level black belt ninja LinkedIn user because I made at least $150,000 to $200,000 last year or as a result of my LinkedIn usage. I would consider anybody that would consider themselves an 8 or 9 or a 10, they better hit that criteria. Is there anybody in the room that would consider themselves an 8 or 9 or a 10? The reason I'm asking that is just because if you all put your hands up, there's no reason for me to wade into the shallow end of the pool. Let's just cannonball into the deep end of the pool. But since nobody put their hands up, I'm going to actually wade in the shallow end. We're going to go very fast because we don't have a lot of time. But if I say anything that's pretty basic, I'm not trying to insult you or anything. Everybody's telling me that they really have this thing figured out. Is there anybody in the room who has a LinkedIn account? You got on LinkedIn, it could have been yesterday, it could have been a decade ago. You haven't been on it in years, you probably lost your password, you hear there's a good way to use it, you're not quite sure what to do. Do you have any honest people in the room? Okay, good. Because if that's you, you're totally normal. Okay? Totally. Most people aren't looking at LinkedIn all day. How do I stay on top of LinkedIn, right? So I'm going to show you some very easy ways to use LinkedIn. But again, as I said at the beginning, if you want to go deeper, call me, email me, text me, you can set the time to talk to me. Years ago, I decided that I would build some time into my calendar on the days that I'm not on a plane or on a stage, just as a way to pay it forward. Not as a clever marketing funnel for my coaching. No, it's really the way my parents raised me. They taught me, Kevin, if you feel that you've been blessed, you should bless others. And I know that I've been blessed. I don't take my blessings for granted. I get on my knees, I thank God every day. But I do build time into my calendar pro bono, where I'm not going to send you an invoice for an hour with me on Zoom. I just would not do that. Okay? So, who's going? You. What's your first name? Alexa. What a pretty name. Alexa. All right, Alexa, have we met before? Are you a plant? Did I put you in the audience with all the answers already in advance? You go to the president. No, we've never met, right? But I'm going to bet a bag full of $20 bills that Alexa will give you the correct answer, the correct word to the next sentence, the last word in the sentence. Alexa, you only have one chance to make a good first impression. Exactly. Everybody knows this, but this is another example of an intellectual understanding versus an experiential understanding. Everybody says, Kevin, I know I only have one chance to make a good first impression. And I say, then why'd your LinkedIn profile look like that? And I go, oh, I'm sorry, was that blunt? Thank you. So we all understand that we have one chance to make a good first impression, There are 850 million people on LinkedIn, 2 to 5 new people per second. I don't think anybody on earth has looked at more LinkedIn profiles than I have, just because I've been doing this for 19 years. I would bet you as much money as you want to bet me that 95% of the 850 million people have LinkedIn profiles which do not deliver a great first impression. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just calling it the way it is. If you are knowingly not delivering a good first impression, then you are knowingly choosing to make your life more difficult than it needs to be. You're a masochist, okay? So is it reasonable in 2022 to assume that if someone's thinking about doing business with you in any capacity, there's this new thing called the internet, it's gonna be big, right? And they're probably gonna go type your name into Facebook and Google and YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter and now I'm not saying you'd be on all those platforms. I'm just saying it's reasonable to assume that they're gonna go check you out. It's not that they're trying to dig up dirt and find skeletons in your closet. It's actually a sign of intelligence that they're going, oh, I'm thinking about doing business with Sam Keck. Maybe I should figure out who this guy is. Does he have a website? Does he have anything on LinkedIn? Is he on Facebook? Not because I'm trying to dig up dirt on him. I'm just trying, it's actually a sign of respect. One of the principles in Dale Carnegie's book is take a sincere interest in other people. Well, wouldn't taking the time to go look at Alexa's LinkedIn profile, wouldn't that be me taking a sincere, I'm not like being some creepy stalker. People look at me and go, Kevin, you know a lot about me. And I go, well, you post a lot on the world's largest electronic bathroom wall. Notice the internet.
Okay.
Right? If you put it out there, I assumed you want me to know it. Why else would you put it out there?
And so now it
So
won't block
I
them.
could go 2 hours
It just says
on
you.
LinkedIn
It says that.
profile optimization.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm gonna go
Because they
maybe
can see
15,
anything.
20
Nobody
minutes,
can
something
see.
to keep you on track, okay? But I could go for a long time just on profile optimization. We're gonna hit it fast, we're gonna hit it dirt.
Yeah, I guess.
So, unlike a lot of so-called social media gurus, by the way, I would never call myself a guru, although my clients call me that, but I would never call myself that. I find that people that call themselves gurus usually do so because they get charlatans. Okay? So, okay, so
Is it a heifer?
it's Colorado, it's not New York City, all right? It's like that. So when I speak in New York, I'll call up the redhead. I'll say, oh, I spoke in New York, so I gotta go. Nobody threw anything, so that's good. So there's time, exactly. And you're warming up your arm. I got it. I like this guy already. So keep that coming, okay? So I don't think, like a lot of social media people will say, this is the way you need to do Facebook. This is the way you need to do LinkedIn. This is the way you need to do it. Come on, really? There's a lot of ways to do this stuff, right? If there's only one way to do it, then you're pigeonholing somebody into something that maybe isn't comfortable for them. By the way, have you ever heard this lie? Your success lies outside of your comfort zone? What a bunch of bullshit.
But it is true.
No offense, okay? I can show you how to make millions in your comfort zone. By the way, your comfort zone's only an idea. Pause for effect. It's not real. It's just a thought you're considering. Okay? So, I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do a LinkedIn profile so that maybe some of you go, I like this way, but I don't like that way. I like this, but I don't like that. See, if I show you contrast, you'll figure out what works for you. But the principle behind a good LinkedIn profile will be the same no matter how you do it, okay? So I'm going to show you a couple of my private coaching clients real quick, just for examples. Here's Robert. What these people do for a living is irrelevant because gravity doesn't care what you do for a living. The principles that I'm teaching you don't care what you do for a living because they work no matter what you do for a living. So don't think, well, Kevin, I've got like the woman in the back who's running this private airplane service for people where they don't think I'm commercial, they want a private plane, you're doing something with business consulting, Robert's an international speaker like me, but no matter what you do, the principles are the same, okay? So don't think, well, Kevin, I do consulting, so no, who cares? Gravity doesn't care, right? So He's got a nice headshot. You don't need to go spend thousands of dollars. No offense if anybody in the room's a photographer. I'm not trying to take your business away, but everybody's got a cell phone with a camera on it. Take a picture. Kevin, I don't like my smile. Too bad. Smile anyway. Go back to frowning. Okay? Smile in your picture, then your background picture. You need something back here. All Robert did was took a picture out of his office window and we put the logo above it. If I show you Alex is one of my clients out in San Francisco. He's fourth generation San Francisco. He's very proud of that. So we just put the Golden Gate Bridge behind him. But you need to have something behind you. Otherwise, it's just a waste of space. And you're actually saying to the viewer, I was invited to the LinkedIn party, but I have no idea why I'm here or what I'm doing, right? So you want to have something in your background. Barry's one of my clients who did something interesting. When Barry came to me, he was very big on branding. He's an insurance guy in Los Angeles. And he said, Kevin, I'm very big on branding. I said, great. He said, my tagline is searching for financial freedom is like trekking through the jungle. I said, that's a pretty good tagline. I said, why don't we put that on your background picture? I'll go find a picture of a jungle and put it behind it. It took me 5 minutes. I said, you've got some room over here. Why don't you put in your phone number, your email address, we'll make it really simple for people to communicate with you so they don't have to go digging through your profile, looking for your contact info. It's all right there. So you're really only limited by your imagination as to what you want to do with this, but you want to do something with the background picture. By the way, none of this is written in stone. If you're an anal retentive kind of person, like I sometimes tend to be, I'm a recovering anal retentive person, okay? So, you might think, oh, I got to get it just right. No, you don't. Slap it up there, we'll fix it on the way, okay? It's better to have something up there than us trying to get it all right and make a Mona Lisa. It's never going to be a Mona Lisa. Just do the best you can, fix it on the way, okay? So you can change all of this down the road if you want to. If you have any initials after your name, CFP, CLU, EIEIO, put it after your name, right? As they say in Texas, if you did it, it ain't bragging, okay? So if you're doing the alphabet soup thing like Robert, great. Now, I need to take 2 or 3 minutes to talk about this because this is critically important. By the way, is this too rudimentary for anybody or is this all cool? Cool? Okay. Underneath your name, you have what I'm highlighting in blue. LinkedIn refers to this as your headline. You have 220 available characters. I would use every single one of those characters because you have one chance to grab somebody's attention, and if you don't grab their attention here, it's highly unlikely they're going to scroll down and want to learn more. Okay? So, what most people do is what you see to the right on the page. I do not know these people on the right. Financial advisor at E3 Wealth, financial advisor, associate vice president. So most people on LinkedIn need to hear this, folks. Most people on LinkedIn look at LinkedIn like it's an online resume. And I can understand why, because it kind of looks like an online resume. But I do not want you to look at LinkedIn like an online resume. I want you to look at it as a cocktail party, an online cocktail party. I'm aware that sounds strange. I'll make it not sound strange before we get done, okay? So, you've heard me say a couple times so far, just in the first 30, 40 minutes, it's really about conversation skills, not technology skills, right? So let me teach you a really simple thing. Most people, when they meet a stranger, they ask them, hey, Zach, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living is a very normal question to ask a stranger. It is a rookie question. You want to ask professional questions in a relaxed manner so you don't seem like you're hoity-toity, okay? When I meet a stranger, I don't ask them, what do you do for a living? Because if I ask Christine, what does she do for a living? She's probably going to give me a job title. And I'm going to instantly pigeonhole her in my mind with what I think that is, and I'm probably wrong, right? So if I meet Sam, and I go, Sam, what do you do? And he says, oh, I'm a financial advisor. And then I have an impression of what that means, which may or may not be accurate, okay? But if I meet Christine and I say, hey, Christine, tell me how what you do for a living really helps people. Pause. That's a fundamentally different question. Because she's not going to answer with financial advisor, because she'll sound like a robot. It's actually a tremendous sign of respect for me to ask her, tell me how what you do for a living really delivers value. First off, nobody's ever asked her that before. I have her attention. Most of the time when you ask somebody, what do you do for a living? They're not even listening. They're just thinking about what they're going to say next, right? By the way, by definition, when you're listening to another person, if you are thinking, you're not listening. can't think and listen at the same time. You can jump back and forth really quick and toggle, and it will show. Okay? But when you're really in a conversation with somebody and they're listening with no judgment, they're just listening, right? They're listening for a feel. Okay? But when they're listening, so when I say, Christine, tell me how what you do for a living really helps me. Number one, she's going, well, that's a different question. She can't answer with a job title. And now I'm allowing her to talk about her favorite subject, which is herself. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's human nature 101. But I'm also giving her an opportunity to explain how she helps people, which makes her feel even better about herself. But it also gives me a far better understanding of how she impacts people beyond just telling me a stupid job title. Is this making sense? So if you look at most people's LinkedIn profiles, what it says under their name is job title and company. You really think that's going to cause somebody to want to go, well, how do I work with this person? No. So when Robert came to me, this said founding partner at Riverside Wealth Advisors. I said, Robert, that's accurate. But that's like watching paint dry. That's not telling me anything. I said, give me a little value statement on how you help people. So we came up with, I help small business owners and high net worth individuals prepare to retire in the 0% tax bracket, providing the tools and education to make their dreams reality. Now, I'm a couple fries short of a happy meal, but even I know that is a million times more descriptive than I'm a financial advisor. Now, you might not like the sentence approach. I call that a sentence approach. So I'll show you another one of my clients who takes a different approach. Here's Bart. Bart's out in Monterey, California. He's also a financial advisor, but he didn't want to do the sentence thing, so we did a bullet point thing. Advisor to healthcare professionals and business owners, bullet point. 401k, IRA rollovers, bullet point. Financial planning, bullet point. I don't care if you do sentences, I don't care if you do bullet points, do something, but use the 220 characters and don't just tell me your job title, because that's probably not going to compel me to want to learn more. So again, if anybody wants help with this, just let me know, I'll help you. When you go into the contact info, have a link to your website if you have a website, have a phone number, have a business mailing address. I would not put in a home address. You might, but I wouldn't, okay? Put in your email, if you're comfortable putting in your birthday, go ahead and put in your birthday, just simple stuff. Let's go back to Rob. We go down below there. We get into the About section. In the About section, you have 2,600 available characters. Use every single one of them.
Cool.
Every single one. You probably, if you have a website, you probably have an About page already on your website. Just go copy and paste that. If you don't, then go figure it out. Okay? Anybody a Seinfeld fan like me? Anybody remember the episode of Jimmy? Jimmy liked the lane, but Jimmy talked in third person. Hilarious episode, right? He's on the run, he's on the treadmill, she's on the treadmill next to him. He's like, Jimmy likes Elaine. And she's like, wow, who's this Jimmy guy? It's related, right? It's pure Seinfeld zaniness, right? By the way, if your LinkedIn profile is written in third person, and most people's are, like a resume, you are literally creating a wall between yourself and the viewer unknowingly. This is why I said consider it like a cocktail party. If I met Jackie at a cocktail party, and I said, Jackie, tell me what you do for a living really helps people, she's not going to go, well, let me tell you about Jackie. Jackie graduated from college, and everyone's going to be like, what the heck's up with Jackie? She's a weirdo, right? So little things, huge doors of opportunity swing on little tiny pages. Write it in first person. By definition, you're pulling the viewer into a conversation because it's in first person. So with Robert, I said, Robert, have you ever been to a cocktail party or a networking event and you meet the guy or the girl, and once they start talking, they never stop talking about what they do for a living and why they're really good at it? He goes, yeah, I met lots of people like that. I go, yeah, they're everywhere. Right? I said, don't get mad at them. They don't know any better. They've never studied conversation skills. They've never studied networking. They've never studied, we all agree with me that we get good at what we study and we're amateurs at what we don't study. It's so simple. So I said, don't be that guy. If you go to most people's LinkedIn profiles, their About section is all about them and their business. Big mistake. I said, Robert, the person you probably enjoy at the cocktail party is the person who talks a little bit about what they do for a living. But maybe they talk a little bit about their background, where they come from, what they do now, what they do when they're not at work, maybe things in the local business community. that person you probably build a better connection with because it's more real, it's more human. So I said, Robert, if you're up for it, I give a lot of advice, but everybody doesn't follow it. I sleep fine, right? All I can do is give it. I can't make you do it, right? I said, tell me a little bit about your background. So he starts for a paragraph or two with, he used to be a minister. So he talks about how he was a minister in Georgia and Florida. I said, okay, cool, enough of that. Now tell me a little bit about how you got into financial services. So he does. I said, cool, enough of that. Now tell me if you do anything in your local business community, tell me about that. So he mentions that he's on the board of directors of this hospital and he's part of the Rotary and all this. I said, okay, enough of that. And then I said, and this is what I really want you to hear, folks. I said, now that we covered all that, tell me a little bit about who you are when you're not working. What do you enjoy doing? Now, this is where your comfort level comes in. Because some people are very private, that's just the way they're wired. And other people are leading the conga line everywhere they go. We know these people, right? Okay. So I said, to whatever degree you're comfortable, Rob, I'm not trying to get you out of your comfort zone. Whatever, I'm not trying to turn you into the life of the party and have a lampshade on your head. I'm saying to whatever degree you're comfortable, tell me about what you enjoy doing when you're not working, and you will see that there's multiple reasons why I'm telling you to do this, Robert, beyond the first reason that you're thinking of. Okay? I'm playing chess 5 moves in advance. Okay? So he mentions that he still teaches Sunday school. He and his wife Angela live on the river. They've got some kids and grandkids. They like water sports. They like to travel. They like to ski. If I go back to Bart knocks this out of the park. Bart took my advice. He grew up in a family-owned restaurant on Monterey Bay. So he starts with that. I said, okay, enough of that. Now talk to me about getting into financial services. Okay, cool, enough of that. If you do anything in your local business community, tell me about that. And then, Bart, to whatever degree you're comfortable, tell me about what you enjoy doing when you're not working. So he mentions his wife and his kids, and they like fishing, cooking, music, sports. Now, on one hand, we want that in your profile because it will make you more human. And humanity leads to know, like, trust infinitely more quickly than a bunch of letters out there. But you're going to see in a couple minutes that there's many other reasons why I want that in your profile. So if we were to ever work in a coaching relationship, you would see that there are numerous things that I teach that initially you might think, oh, I see why Kevin's teaching this. But then down the road, you go, oh, he actually has he's playing chess a couple moves. So you're going to see that. There's beyond this just making you more human. I'm going to show you. Mike just go.
Yep.
Just roll.
Yep.
I'm going to show you how the more information you have in your LinkedIn profile about who you are as a human, it will enable you to accomplish my 3 steps 1,000 times faster. So there's a method to my madness. Remember, the first step was you have to have ways to find people, and people have to have ways to find you. Well, I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes how LinkedIn is. Christine, when you're not working, what do you do for fun? Okay, like the king. Okay, I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes how I can find every single human being on LinkedIn that has the word camp from their LinkedIn profile. If I lined up 1,000 prospects against the wall, and I said, Christine, we'll try to start a conversation. You probably should. But if you knew you had something in common with some of those people,
I didn't really get this open. And I need to get in this drawer behind you.
Here.
There you go.
Oh my God. The only reason I would ever use sales and news, the only reason why a fully functioning, rational human being would use salesy maneuvers is because they don't understand how to create conversations and relationships or to cycle. Think about it. Makes sense. We don't have letters. Nothing faces Kevin. He just keeps talking while Anthony does his thing. There we go. Thank you, Anthony. So, all I'm suggesting put some information into your profile about who you are as a person. Don't try and impress me so much about how you're good at what you do for a living, because you agreed with me in the first 30 seconds of my presentation that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people they don't like and trust. You didn't say, well, Kev, they will do that as long as you have letters after your name and you look really good at what you do. No. As a matter of fact, you could be almost not that great at what you do, but if you're really good at developing relationships, you'll still do well. I'm not saying don't be good at what you do. I'm saying be good at what you do, but always be getting better at conversations and relationships. When we go down below here, there's a relatively new area of LinkedIn called the featured section. I'm not a big fan of reinventing the wheel. In the featured section, you can add media, white papers, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, Word documents, whatever you want. I said, Robert, you probably have a website. Let's go to your website. Let's go to the About page or the Resources page. Let's see what you have in there. You have case studies, white papers. What do you got, man? I took it, copy, paste it, put it into the featured section in 30 seconds. If you already have that content, let's get it in there. But let me give you the simplest tip of all. No matter how good Robert White is at what he does, and he is world class at what he does, no matter how good he is at what he does, and no matter how well he writes his LinkedIn profile, ain't nothing ever gonna beat a face-to-face experience of Robert White. So what if Robert White, like everybody I work with, I say, why don't you just sit in your couch or your backyard, I don't care where, take out your phone and just record a minute or two. Hey, my name's Robert White. Thanks for taking a minute out of your busy day to look at my LinkedIn profile. Let me share with you a little bit about what I do and how I help people, maybe how I can help you or somebody that you care about. He talks for a minute or two about what he does, then he wraps it up. Thanks so much for looking at my brief LinkedIn welcome video. I'm always a phone call or an email away. Go Bronco, see you, bye. Now the person's going. He's obviously a black belt. I'm looking at all the information that's on his profile, but he's also a real guy. I mean, I could have a conversation with this guy. I could have a cup of coffee with this guy. Let me give you another idea. YouTube. I love YouTube. You've been coming to listen to me for a dozen years. I said, right before I came up here, right before Anthony introduced me, I said, if I fall down and bang my head, just jump up here and take over, because you know my lines better than I do, right? So you both are in the marketing, you're in branding, but you're also in promotional products and that kind of stuff. Do you have some happy clients? Hell yeah, you do. Let me give you an idea. I'm going to pretend that I'm you for a minute, right? And Jackie uses my promotional product services. After Jackie uses your services, what if I said this to Jackie? Hey, Jackie, thanks so much for using our services. Can I ask you for a favor? And I'm cool with yes, and I'm also cool with no. No pressure. Can I get maybe 30 seconds on why you chose to do business with Samar Marketing? You know, Samar, I'm pronouncing that right, correct? Okay. Promotional products. She's like, yeah, no problem. So she's, oh, I work with Suzanne and Stephanie, and they're great. They underpromised, they over-delivered. I would work with them again. They're great. They walk on water. And I go, oh, thank you so much. A week later, I meet Christine. Christine buys my product. Hey, Christine, would you mind giving me maybe 20, 30 seconds on why you chose to do business with our company? Oh, yeah, sure, Kev. Couldn't I take 5 or 6 20 or 30 second video clips? Couldn't I go to the local community college, go to the film department? Couldn't I give a 6-pack of Heineken and a $20 bill to a student? And in an hour, I got a Scorsese production of happy clients pre-selling me to prospects. Holy crap. Because if Stephanie and Suzanne walk in the room and go, you know, we're kind of a big deal, right? We're really good at what we do. We're world class. We're the best. The person goes, they're cocky, they're jerks. But if they say, oh, you know, maybe you might want to look at my LinkedIn profile, and I'll look at your LinkedIn profile. See, when I first got on LinkedIn 19 years ago, a lot of these features didn't exist. You couldn't put video on your profile. I had to rely on LinkedIn recommendations, which I still do, by the way. It's still a feature. But I said to myself, follow the simple psychology. I said to myself, when I walk in to meet with a prospect, I'm considered to be the typical salesperson, right? They look at me kind of like, what does this guy want from me? Why is he trying to get in my wallet? And I said, but if I can get them to see other people saying good things about me before I go into the meeting, they're going to treat me in a whole different manner. We're going to be peers, and it's not going to be this sales dance thing where I do the sales dance and you know. So what I did was I got people to write recommendations on my profile, people that experienced my work and had good results. And then when I would have a meeting with Jackie next week, either on the phone or on an email, I would say this. Hey, Jack, I'm so looking forward to meeting you next week. Because I consider your time important and also my time important, I'm going to do my homework before the meeting. I'm going to look at your website, learn as much as I can so I can figure out how I can deliver as much value to you as I can. Here's a link to my LinkedIn profile. If you have an extra 60 seconds, you might want to check it out to learn a little bit about me. And I'm also going to check out your LinkedIn profile. See you next week, Kev. Because I said to myself, if I could get them to go see other people saying good things about me, but I can't say about myself because I'd be a kind of jerk. Then when I walk in, by the way, boy, did it work. I would walk in the door and it was not, oh, I got 15 minutes, what is it? Right? It was not sit down, want a cup of coffee? Yes, I do, matter of fact, thank you very much, right? So it's pre-selling. It's getting them to see that there's credibility before you show up so you don't have to do that stupid dance and waste all that time. Does this make sense? Put that right in your featured section. Underneath that, and then we'll move on, is your experience. I'm going to make a suggestion I've been making for 19 years. I'm very used to people looking at me like I have 3 heads when I make this suggestion. So if I say what I'm about to say next makes you confused, join the hook. Then I'll make it make sense. I'm going to suggest you put into your LinkedIn profile every single job you've ever had in your life. Exactly, you're laughter. And what some of the people laughing are thinking is, Kevin, if I do that, they'll know I'm old. They've seen the picture, they know. Okay? Some people are thinking, why would I put something in my LinkedIn profile from so many years ago that's not relevant to what I do now? It's totally relevant to what you do now. Because every position you've ever had, you develop skills, and if you know how to communicate that in a non-cocky way, then the person reading your profile will see, wow, this person has worked in a number of different industries, but they have a proven track record of delivering value no matter where they go. By the way, let me ask you another really simple question. It's all about know, like, trust, right? I look at your LinkedIn profile, it shows me that you graduated college in 1968, but your first job is in 2003. I'm not supposed to be confused? Or were you in the witness relocation program for 50 years? Right? I see gaps in your work history. That's supposed to instill confidence in me? I'm simple. Real simple. LinkedIn's finally starting to figure this out. You know what LinkedIn did about a month ago? They now have a button you can put in where you actually click and say, for this period of time, I was home as a full-time parent. Even though for 19 years, it's very common for women, not always women, sometimes men, whatever, to say, Kevin, I took 7 years off to raise my kids. How do I put that on my LinkedIn profile? I said, why don't you write that in your LinkedIn? People make things so complicated. Why are they overthinking? Let's go back to the cocktail party. If I was at the cocktail party, I'd go, hey, what were you doing around 2000? Oh, Kevin, I was home with the kids. Oh, cool. I'm not making it into a big, hairy thing, right? It's all how it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. I'm going to use 7 words in a row. I'm going to say it 7 times. I'm never going to change the word, any of the order of the word. And every single time I say these 7 words, it's going to mean something different. This is going to show you the power of understanding language. I didn't say she stole the purse. 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 I didn't say she stole. Same words. Totally different meanings. It's not what you said, it's how you said it. It's putting your LinkedIn profile. So every job that you have in your LinkedIn profile should have a simple explanation written in first-person cocktail party English. Robert, what was your first job out of college?
I made fiberglass chairs at Krieger Metal.
You made fiberglass chairs at Krieger Metal. I'm going to predict that's probably not in his LinkedIn profile. Okay? But maybe it is. But let me ask you a simple question, and there's one key thing you all need to know about. I never, ever ask trick questions. The reason I'm telling you that is because often my questions are so simple, you will be led to think he must be trying to trick me. No, I'm trying to show you how you're overthinking. It's really simple, okay? So let me ask Robert the next question. Robert, why would it be smart? Can you think of any reasons why it would be smart to mention, what is it again?
Fiberglass chairs at Krieger Middle.
Why? Does anybody else want to answer this? Why might it be smart for Robert to put in his LinkedIn profile, my first job out of college was making fiberglass chairs at Krieger, blah, 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 blah. Why might that be helpful? Go ahead.
Use the mic. Use my.
You're holding it.
I'm holding the mic for people to answer a question or ask one.
Why might it be helpful for him to explain my first job at, by the way, I'm not saying just put the job title in the years. If I met him at a cocktail party and I said, Robert, what was your first job out of college? He wouldn't say 1974 to 1976 fiberglass chair manufacturing at Krieger Industries. Does it sound like a friggin' robot? Like most people's LinkedIn profiles that look like cold stellar resumes. You try to convince me on how a cold stellar resume and the need to know like trust, you're gonna have a hard time selling me that. So if I met Robert at a cocktail party and this Robert was your first job at college, he would talk in conversational English. He'd say, well, Kevin, I went to one semester of college, then I had a heart attack, but you didn't ask me that. So my first job was I worked at now I'm being pulled into a conversation. I'm building a relationship with him. I'm not looking at stupid bullet points on a LinkedIn profile because you think it's a resume. So all I'm suggesting is, for every job you've ever had, just put a simple explanation, right? Oh, Kevin, I look like I'm job hopping. Now, if you articulate it correctly, right? I only worked at this job for 6 months because my boss was a jerk. You know, and I'm not saying you should say that. I probably would say that because that's my personality. But I'm not telling you to be me. I'm telling you to be you, but use language in a way that you would use at a cocktail party. Does this make sense? Same thing with college. Robert, when you were is your high school in your LinkedIn profile?
No,
Should be. When you were in high school, what did you do? Track, chase girls, debate team, chess club, what'd you do?
avoided it as much as possible, worked in radio full-time.
That's exactly what it should say word for word in his LinkedIn profile. While I was attending high school, trying to stay out of detention, I worked, I feel like I'm at a cocktail party. I'm talking with, by the way, aren't there other people on LinkedIn that probably did what you did in high school? And when they read it in your profile at a subliminal level, you're building rapport. Shouldn't a good LinkedIn profile build rapport? Of course. If we look at mine's not a Mona Lisa. There are no Mona Lisas. But if we go look at mine real quick, we go down to my education. By the way, everything I'm teaching you, of course, I do myself. Otherwise, I'd be the biggest hypocrite in the world. If I go down to high school, I ran track and cross country in high school, and I tried to stay out of detention as much as I could, but I wasn't 100% successful in that regard. A little self-deprecating humor, right? First college, Mercer County College. I majored in radio telecom because, well, you know, I have a face for radio. Okay, more self-deprecating humor. I was seriously disappointed to learn that Lonnie Anderson from WKRP didn't work in any of the radio stations I worked in. You'll have to be of a certain age to get that reference. Some people will get that reference. Now the person's going, oh, he's an international speaker, he makes a lot of money, he writes books, he's on television. He doesn't take himself so damn serious. He's not some big prima donna speaker with a big ego. Oh, I'm speaking for 60 minutes, not 62, and I want my Perrier chilled at 47 degrees, and you better pick me up at the airport in a black Mercedes S500. Okay. You ever meet these people? Yeah, they're out there. They're jerks. They also, by the way, think they understand no like trust. They understand it intellectually. They have no evidence that they understand how it works in the right world, because their behavior demonstrates that their understanding is intellectual. Okay? So, hang on one second, one, two. So I'm suggesting, to whatever degree you're comfortable, put in every college, every high school. A couple of years ago, I had a crazy thought. I said, you know, there's a lot of things that I have a strong interest in that I should probably put in my LinkedIn profile. So I created a new category in the education section. I call it continual self-education. I'm an avid student of success and personal growth and interpersonal skills. I read a lot of books. If it holds any interest for you, some of these things I have credentials in, some of them I don't. If it holds any interest to you, I have a strong interest in Dale Carnegie, Earl Nightingale, emotional intelligence, Byron Katie, Napoleon Hill, the Enneagram, Course in Miracles, transformational coaching, psychology, Leo Pascal. It's all over the board. But remember, can't I find every other person on LinkedIn that has those words in their LinkedIn profile in about 3 seconds? You're about to see it in about 5 minutes. I'm playing chess 5 moves in advance. Okay? By the way, when somebody looks at my LinkedIn profile and they're a strong Christian, and I've got Christianity and Christian mysticism at a subliminal level, I'm building rapport. Okay? Somebody looks at my LinkedIn profile, oh, Byron Katie, I love Byron Katie. The 4 questions and the turnaround, oh yeah. I'm a big Byron Katie fan too, right? Course in Miracles, well, yeah, we can talk about that all day long too if you want, okay? So the more, again, my overriding suggestion is to whatever degree you're comfortable, be as much of an open book as you're willing to be. I'm not suggesting publish your social security number or anything. I'm just saying, use some common sense, right? So, you guys got the idea. As a gift from me to you, if you want, email kevin@kevinknebl.com. If we go up to the top of my LinkedIn profile, my email address is kevin@kevinknebl.com. Knebl is 5 letters. Could I please buy another vowel? Knebl. Just say, shoot me an email. And you people on the internet do the same thing. I think that's the camera. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's that one. So how many cameras is you got? Oh, that's the camera right there? Oh no, that's the other thing. We'll do that in a second. Okay. So I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe it's you. So shoot me an email. Kevin@kevinknebl.com. Hey Kevin, I laughed at your stupid jokes at Mile High Church. Would you send me your LinkedIn profile cheat sheet, which has about a dozen tips that you can apply to your profile? And I'll also throw in all my LinkedIn templates that I normally charge $100 for. I'm not worried about your $100. Okay. Just shoot me an email. Say, Kevin, send me your cheat sheet, send me your templates. I'll email them to you. If you're a total overachiever, you probably are, that's why you're here. Okay? If you're a total overachiever, after I email you the suggestions and if you apply them to your profile, email me back. Hey, Kev, it's Alexa. I've updated my LinkedIn profile. Would you look it over? I've been looking over LinkedIn profiles every day for 19 years. I assure you, Alexa, I will be sitting in a American Express Centurion lounge in some airports sucking down free Merlot. I'll open up my laptop and I'll look at Alexa's profile, and in about 60 seconds, Alexa, this is good, what if we tweet this, what if we tweet that? I'll go back and forth with you as much as you want and help you. This is what my clients pay me for. I'm doing it for free, right? By the way, on a side note, I make this offer everywhere I go. In the last month, I've been on stage in Colorado, South Dakota, New Jersey, Lisbon, Portugal. I've been doing this for a long time, folks. When I say to an audience, whether it's 30 people or whether it's 3,000 people, email me and ask me for my cheat sheets, and then email me if you want me to help you fine tune the profile. What percentage of the audience do you think actually does it?
1.
About 2 to 3%. Do you realize how low the bar is set? People say to me all the time, Kevin, most people are so, they half-ass everything. I say that's actually great news. Because the lower the bar is set, the more you look like a rock star. You don't even have to work that hard to look like a rock star when everybody else is doing just enough to get paid or not get fired, right? So there's 2 sides, by the way, there's 3 sides to every coin, there's not 2. There's the edge also, that's another side, right? So, when you look at it, you go, oh, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, good. Because now you look better and better and better, right? So again, don't buy into all the negative crap out there. You don't need to buy into it. Alexa, you have a question?
Yeah.
Or a comment?
Question. So from your perspective, like when I'm applying for a job and my resume is completely different than LinkedIn, that is a great job, right? So because the resume would be catered to a specific job versus LinkedIn's gonna just be all about me and conversations.
Right. And by the way, pause real quick.
Yeah.
You can add it in your featured section, your resume. Upload your resume into the featured section. And in the about section, write. There's a lot of information in my profile. If you want to jump right to the cold sterile resume, please click below.
Okay.
And then just continue. So, but I interrupted you. You had more to say.
I did. So one of your LinkedIn profiles makes you look like a real weirdo that you are. Like, I'm a Reiki practitioner. I do.
Reiki practitioners are weirdos?
Well, pretty weird whole things. But I mean, here I am in, Malhide Church.
So-
But I'm not always in Malhide Church.
No,
Most people
knowing
don't
that
really
we have
know
limited
that.
time on this,
Okay.
I'm going to answer it very fast.
Okay.
If you want to talk with me offline, I'm happy to talk as long as you want. But I'm going to make a comment on what you just said. You just tried to play God. You just tried to imply that you know what other people are thinking. You have no idea what other people are thinking. Now, I'm not saying suspend common sense. If you put in your LinkedIn profile, like not working, I like, crawling over barbed wire naked and drinking battery acid. I'm going to probably have a little, you see a little kinky, right? That's a little weird. But if you're talking like a normal, fully functioning, rational human being, and you're explaining to me what you do and how you deliver value to people, that doesn't sound like a weirdo to me. By the way, most human beings spend their entire day trying to predict
be able to do it all.
You could not find a more useless way to spend your day. I really want you to hear that. Because when you become comfortable with who you are, not cocky, not arrogant, just a calm confidence about who you are, you develop what I would probably call a let the chips fall where they fall kind of approach to life. And what's really interesting is the chips fall really well. By the way, when you're trying to control how the chips fall, you're trying to be God. Most people have never really thought this thought before that I'm explaining it. Most of what you've been taught to do in human society is to try to control things you have no control over. There's two things you have control over. Go on. If we had enough time, I would ask you to tell me about this self that you're alluding to, okay? But we don't have enough time for that. But in reality, there's two things that you can control. And in reality, there's really only two things you need to control. Your attitude and your work ethic. You control your attitude and your work ethic, everything else will work out just fine. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bed of roses. Doesn't mean you're not going to hit speed bumps on the way. You will. It's life, right? Bad stuff happens sometimes. But if you put your focus on your work ethic and your attitude, I assure you, you will succeed. Now, we can talk about the definitions of success, but by the way, if you think there's anything you can control beyond your work ethic and your attitude, you are delusional. We can sit down and really have a conversation about that. At the end of the day, you'll see I'm right. You can't control anything other than your attitude and your work ethic. But in reality, that's all you ever need to control. You have a question or a comment?
Would you say that our LinkedIn profile should be kind of an ongoing about us, and it's me first, company second, so that if I do hypothetically go to another company, it's minor tweaking rather than a full overhaul of the LinkedIn?
Yeah, is it your profile or is it the company's profile? So what do you think?
Yeah.
Right. The answer was in the question, wasn't it? Right. It was, should my profile be more about me or more about the company I work for? Is it a company profile or is it your profile? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't say things about the company, but it's your profile. Now, there are company pages you can put on LinkedIn too. We certainly don't have time for that. That's 100 other things that I don't have time for today. But if you own your own business, you might want to have a company page also, and I would make some suggestions on what to do with that. But your profile is your profile, right? It's not, enough about you, let's talk about me. No, you've been given a platform. This is your LinkedIn profile. Tell me about who you are, and what you do, and how you help people, and why I should care, right? And your response to that is all about conversation skills. Okay, I got to move because I got limited time. I got one eye on that clock, and I got 5 more hours worth of stuff I got to cram into 35 minutes. Okay. If you want my LinkedIn cheat sheet, email me. I'll send it to you. If you want me to help you fine tune your profile, I'll help you do it. Okay. There's 1,000 other things I could show you about LinkedIn. We don't have time. So I'm gonna hit what I think is critical that I need to hit before we get done, okay? I want you to see how those 3 steps that I alluded to are not abstract philosophy. I want you to see how this is the most practical thing you ever need to learn, okay? So, instead of giving you a canned example, I'm gonna pick somebody and I'm gonna use you. So, who owns a business? You own a business? And you say, Sam and I are golfing a week from tomorrow. You're gonna kick my butt, brother. What's your first name? Bernie. Bernie. What kind of work do you do, Bernie?
I'm an electrical safety consultant, semi-retired.
Okay, and what kind of people or companies hire you?
Places like 3M, Lockheed, Waterworks.
Stop right there. We're gonna use him, okay? Now, I could have used
Sewage works.
I could have used Ricky Girl, okay? I could have used Sam, the financial advisor. I could have used Jackie, the consultant. I could have used the private airplane lady in the back of the room. I want you to see, I could have used anybody to do what I'm about to do, but the time is clicking and I have to move fast. I'm gonna use Bernie. Bernie, is it okay with you if I pretend that I'm you for the next couple of minutes?
Yes.
It's gonna be far more impactful than me giving you some canned spiel, okay? Okay, so number one, in this demonstration with Bernie and I, let's assume that Bernie and I have updated his LinkedIn profile so that he's delivering the best possible first impression. That's critical, okay? By the way, when I say best possible first impression, I don't mean I'm trying to make you into the prom queen. I don't mean that I'm trying to make you the smartest guy in the room. By the way, both of those will lay on any people, okay? I'm saying I'm just making you real. I'm just making Bernie look like, yes, he's credible in terms of business, but he's also a guy I could have a beer or a cup of coffee with. Let's assume we've done it, okay? Bernie, let's go back to my 3 steps. Step 1, Bernie, would you agree with me that no matter how good you are at the electrical thing you just said, you're gonna have to be able to find people and people are gonna have to be able to find you?
Yes.
Okay, let's go do that. If we go to LinkedIn, most people have a free LinkedIn account. There is nothing wrong with a free LinkedIn account. Let's look at a free LinkedIn account like it's a nice Cadillac. It'll get you where you want to go. It'll get you there safely. If you get in an accident, you're probably going to live. Okay? It's a good safeguard. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I want to show you a Lamborghini. But if I went to the homepage here on LinkedIn and I went up to the search bar, and if he told me the kind of people who typically hire him are business owners, is that accurate? CEOs, presidents? Or are they facility managers? What are they?
Facility managers,
Okay.
maintenance managers,
Stop right-
safety managers.
Stop right there. I'm going to type in facility, facility. My mind went someplace weird. Facility, manager, and I hit enter. And then once I hit enter, I have groups, people, posts, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go to all filters. Once I go to all filters, oops, why is it going to groups? I want groups. I want all filters. People. Now it's going to give me some filters. So I could say, okay, I want to find people that live in Colorado. I want to find people like you mentioned, Waterworld, which is where I'm going tomorrow with the redhead and her daughter and my daughter, and we're going to be doing cannibals at Waterworld. Anybody wants to go to Waterworld tomorrow? It's going to be a party. Come on to Waterworld, okay? So I can look through here to some degree, and it's helpful. But I'm now going to take you to a Lamborghini. Okay? So I'm going to go to an area of LinkedIn that most people are not familiar with called Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is a paid version of LinkedIn. It's about $79 a month. I get no commission on it. I'm not trying to upsell you to it. I'm just telling you what it costs. Let me ask a very simple question to identify the people that understand business and people that understand employees. If that felt like it hurt a little bit, I'm not trying to insult you. I can't insult you. The only thing that can insult you is you're thinking about what are the words that come out of my mouth. That's another seminar for another day. Okay? That's actually my favorite. Okay. I just told you Sales Navigator is $79 a month. How much money do you need to earn as a result of using Sales Navigator to make it worth your $79 a month? How much money do you need to earn in order to justify a $79 a month investment? Really? I would say 80. Okay. She said a couple thousand. I like her thinking. okay? But I want to be clear here. I run around the world and I teach this stuff to people. Sometimes I teach it to business owners, actually most of the time it's business owners, sometimes it's employees. I'm not putting down employees, but I'm pointing out that most employees are given things by their employers and they don't pay for their own continuing education, and they certainly don't pay for advanced tools like LinkedIn. I'm just pointing out, if I say 79 bucks a month, all you have to make is 80 to justify it. If you're not making 10 to 20x on the 79 bucks that you're investing in sales now, you're not doing what I'm teaching. You're a fat person with a gym membership. Let that sink in. I meet a lot of people. Some of them even pay me $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for coaching. And then they don't do it to my team. It's funny. It is funny. I sleep very well. I think if you went and joined the gym and you never went to the gym, I don't think that the gym owner's pacing the floor at night. The gym owner's going, I guess they want to pay me for a gym membership and not come. Yeah, they could come, right? You're either going to go or you're not going to go, right? So I just want to get across to you. Sometimes when I say 79 bucks, some people are like, that's it? Yeah, it's like nothing. Other people are like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. Well, it's a lot of money if you don't make 80, right? Now you got your money back plus $1. This is simple business ownership mentality. That's all it is, right? So I'm just telling you up front what it costs. I'm not trying to get you to do it. I'm just showing you that it's a handy tool. Burning. I go here to where it says lead filters. On this page, there's about 24 filters that I can mix and match in literally millions of combinations. Do you have any geographic limitations on where you can work?
No.
Okay, but just for kicks, I'm going to focus on Colorado. Okay, so one of the filters here says geography. I could type any city, state, country, or even a zip code and do anything from a 1 mile to a 100-mile radius. I'm just going to type in Colorado. I could type in Pueblo, I could type in Hudson, Erie, whatever the hell I want. I click on Colorado. LinkedIn tells me that there are, in the state of Colorado, over 2 million people that have a LinkedIn account. Are they all good prospects for you, Bernie?
No.
No, they're not. So Bernie says to himself, what kind of people do I want to work with? What I think I heard Bernie say is he works with facility managers, he works with maintenance people, people like that, right? Okay, so if I wanted to filter these 2 million people, I've got a whole bunch of ways I could do it. I could go to job title and I could type in facility manager. Now, a facility manager may or may not have facility manager in their LinkedIn job title. I need to be clear here. A lot of people that I work with like to work with CEOs. I do a lot of work with CEOs, business owners. But I say to myself, what might a CEO or a business owner have in their LinkedIn profile in their job title? But this is not 100% across the board, right? They could have CEO, president, managing partner, independent rep, owner. So you got to massage this a little bit. You got to finesse it, okay? So I'm doing it fast and dirty. Just for kicks, I want to see how many people of the 2 million people in Colorado have facilities manager in their LinkedIn job title. I have no idea. Let's find out. There's over 3,000 of them. Would you agree with me that facilities manager might be a little bit more obscure than CEO? You see how this is already a gold mine and I haven't even gotten started yet? We're going to go down to eye color in a couple seconds. Okay? So now I've got 2 filters. I've got job title and geography. I could say, I want to see the people that work in a particular industry in facilities maintenance. There's 147 different industries that LinkedIn supports. I could say, I want to find the facilities managers that have been in their current position for X numbers of years. I want to find the facility manager that went to the same school that Bernie went to. I want to find a facility manager that speaks Spanish. I could do this till the cows come. Okay? Bernie, remember, I don't ask trick questions. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. If I were to line these 3,000 people up against the wall and I said, Bernie, go try to start conversations with those people, do you think you could do it? You think it's too hard? I'm asking you to open your mouth and have words come out. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. So the answer is yes, Kevin. I could try to start conversations with 3,000 people. Yes. It would take you a long time. You'd probably bang your head against the wall a lot. But you seem like a nice enough guy. You can form sentences. You seem real, right? You don't seem like a psychopath or an axe murderer. But would you agree with me that if you knew you had something in common with some of those people, it should be easier to start a conversation with them?
Yes.
Anybody remember 45 minutes ago? Why is Kevin saying you should put in non-work related stuff into your profile? Many reasons, not just one. Bernie, what do you do for fun when you're not working?
Walking, hiking.
You don't. I'm sure you do other things. Let me throw a couple by you. You like to go to concerts, go see sports, you like good food, you like restaurants, you take your wife to the house, you like to drink red wine. What do you like to do for fun?
Dancing.
Dancing. Now that's pretty obscure. I don't know how many facilities managers are gonna have the word dancing in their LinkedIn, but let's find out. If I go up here to where it says search keywords, any word I type in here, any word or combinations of words, it will filter these people to see. Now I'm predicting there's probably not a lot of facilities managers that have the word dancing in their LinkedIn profile, but I could be wrong. Let's find out. There's one. There's John Jungerberg in Boulder, Colorado, who is the facility coordinator at Lakewood Cultural Center. He has the word dancing in his LinkedIn profile.
I live in Lakewood.
I'm gonna do, yeah, exactly, you live in Lakewood. I'm gonna do dance instead of dancing. Now I've got 14. Could change. You tell me you like to walk. You walk. There's 23. What if I did walking? There's 3. So I'm just showing you, do you like to travel?
Yes.
Let's put travel. There's 130. Do you like wine?
No,
Do you like beer?
no.
Do you like sports?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm not gonna pretend, let's not pretend that we like something we don't. But if I put sports, I got, so all I'm demonstrating to you is LinkedIn is a database on steroids, okay? So the more you're willing to put into your LinkedIn profile, the easier it's going to be to find other people that have similar things in their LinkedIn profile. And in doing so, you'll also be more human, more relatable, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's go back. The first one you said was you like to travel. I'm gonna put travel. I've got 130 people. You are not gonna want to rerun this every day. So watch what I do next. Save search. I'm gonna call this Colorado Facility Manager Travel. Because that's just what I put in, right? I hit save search. Please hear what I'm about to say next. What you just watched me do was science fiction 10 years ago. I just put that set of search parameters on autopilot. And now every second of every minute of every hour, day, week, month, and year, going forward into the future until I tell LinkedIn to stop, LinkedIn's going to search the entire LinkedIn database for anybody that has those particular parameters in their LinkedIn profile. Want to get your mind blown? Watch this. See these save searches? This is the one that Bernie and I just created. There's no new results because we just created it 10 seconds ago. But do you see all these other save searches? I have no interest in any of these. Then Kevin, why do you have them? Because I created them when I was teaching this to people like you and I just didn't delete them. So let's just pick one or two. I don't know who the heck I was talking to on August 26th of 2020. Somebody, but for whatever reason, I don't remember why, I didn't do an entire state like Colorado. I did a 10-mile radius of one zip code. I didn't do facility manager. I did CEO, president, or owner in their current job title. With Bernie's, I didn't do any criteria on employee size. Here I did 11. These CEOs, presidents, and owners need to be running businesses with 11 to 200 employees. And then just like Bernie had a keyword travel, this person had a keyword travel. On August 26th of 2020, almost 2 years ago, we pulled up how many ever people we pulled up, just like we just did for Bernie. But do you see that number? 2016, Kevin, are you telling me that in the last 2 years while you were sleeping, LinkedIn found 2,016 people that fit your search criteria that literally didn't exist when you ran the search on August 26, 2020? And if you were to click on that button, Kevin, it would show you every one of those people? Yep. If you're sitting there thinking, this is cool, no offense, you missed it. This is effing mind-boggling. We would have given our right arm for a tool like this 10 or 20 years ago. I am showing you, I'm doing it quickly because the time is going fast, but I am showing you how the more clarity you have around the kind of people you want to do business with, the easier it's going to be to find them. And the easier it's going to be to have them served on a silver platter to you every week. Because if I left that there, once a week I'm going to get an email from LinkedIn that's going to say, Kevin, this week we found X number of people that fit your search criteria. Please click here to see who they are. Let me make another really strong point. I've been doing this all day, every day for 19 years. I would bet you as much money as you want to bet me that 99.9% of the people that you would consider to be competitors to what you do for a living, they ain't doing this. They don't know it exists because you didn't know it existed until 2 minutes ago too. What I'm showing you is you are in a race called business, driving a 1974 lime green rusted Pacer. And I come along and I go, hey Bernie, I got this really nice Lamborghini Diablo over here with 350 horsepower with a brand new set of Michelin tires on it. Why don't we take this out for a test drive? I take Bernie out for a test drive. He goes, what the hell am I doing driving a 1974 Pacer? See, when I work with my clients, one of the things that they get from me is an almost unfair competitive advantage. What I show Sam is a coaching model. How to identify his best prospects almost down to eye cover. You know what Sam's probably been sold over the years? Do dinner seminars at Del Frisco's in the tech center at $150 a plate. Do SEO, do direct, and there's a time and a place for these things. Then I come along and I go, Sam, this is 79 bucks a month and I don't get any of it. Let me show you how to drive this Lamborghini. You're renting a Lamborghini for 80 bucks a month, right? And you can drive as much as you want, right? There's no mileage limitation. Do you see how many searches are running at the same time? It's not like I'm saying, Bernie, we got to really nail down the search. No, Bernie, let's find people that, like dancing. Let's do a search on people that live in Montana, because you want to go to Montana and write it up as a business expense. You can go ski in there. I mean, we're only limited by our imagination here. We can have these searches running 12. Look at these friggin' numbers. 3,000 new people, a 10-mile radius of one zip code for CEOs, presidents, and owners with 11 to 200 employees, and somewhere in their LinkedIn profile is the word philosophy, for God's sakes. And I still have 3,000 new people. And you're telling me I can't find clients. Yeah, it's because you're driving a Pacer. Let's go get a Lamborghini. Hang on, Bernie, this guy's up inside. Mike. Oh, sorry. Say it fast.
This is great for the database and identifying, but then again, is how are you going to reach these people? Because a lot of them get contacted by this tool.
You think?
And they just tune in. I get stuff from people all the time at this, and I go,
Do you remember
stop trying to sell me.
Do you remember the second step in my 3-step system? I wouldn't expect you to. But you couldn't have teed me up any better, brother, because that's what we're doing next.
Okay. This I get. This is just a database search.
Do you know why? When you get spam in your inbox, if you're like me, you probably delete it. Right? Wake up in the morning, turn on your email, delete. Everybody else? Yes? Can we just say what spam is? It's bad conversation skills. It's strangers walking up to you and trying to sell you something. That's what you've been trained to do, by the way. That's why they invented elevator pitches. Because the only purpose for an elevator, you wouldn't need an elevator pitch with somebody that you have a little know-like trust with. It would actually be insane for me to go up to Robert White, who I would trust with my wallet and my girlfriend, and for me to give Robert an elevator pitch. He's going to look at me like, what the hell, right? What's wrong? No, we have a little bit of know-like trust so we can talk openly. You could not have teed me up better, okay? I don't know. Talk about that. So would you agree with me, Bernie, that I showed you in less than 60 seconds how to accomplish step one?
Yes.
And I only showed you one of dozens of ways that I could do it. I have tons of ways that I can find people and be found by people, but I only have 9 minutes left, okay? So, would you agree with me also, Herman, that none of these people are ever in 100 lifetimes ever gonna do business with you without you getting into a conversation with them first?
Yes.
You're a smart man. You've also validated my second step. You've proven, so has the skeptical guy. You've proven. I couldn't have said it better myself. You're never going to get into business with any of those people without a conversation taking place. That's why Sam's probably tired of me saying this, because I say it all day long with my clients. All roads lead to conversation skills. That's where the rubber meets the road. Because if you can't get someone into a conversation, by definition, they're not going to become a client. See how simple I am? Simple, right? Don't focus on marketing, focus on conversation skills, right? So, by the way, real quick, if I were to look at Marjorie Crow, go look at her LinkedIn profile and then hit the save button, I would be saving her as what LinkedIn refers to as a lead. What does that mean? It means that now LinkedIn is monitoring her without her knowing she's being monitored. And LinkedIn is telling me everything she's doing on LinkedIn every day. Oh, she just updated her LinkedIn profile. Oh, she just had a work anniversary. Oh, she just commented on somebody else's post. Oh, she just was mentioned in the local news media. Local news media, Kev. You're talking outside of LinkedIn? They have this new thing called the internet. It's going to be big. LinkedIn's pulling the data. When I say I'm interested in Marjorie Crow, LinkedIn starts monitoring the internet for Marjorie Crow. Then LinkedIn emails me and says, Kevin, Marjorie Crow just got nominated as top Rotarian this month at the Rotary Club. And I go, well, that's an opportunity to create a conversation. See, the more I learn about it, without being some weird, creepy guy, just by exhibiting good Dale Carnegie people skills. I let you talk, and when you talk, I don't listen with judgment, I listen for a few. The more I learn about you, if I'm a fully functioning, rational human being, and I'm not always, but most of the time I am, if I'm not being a weirdo, the more you're willing to tell me, the easier it's going to be for me to build some know-like trust with you. Not in a manipulative way. In a sincere and authentic way. The less I know about you, the more I'm going to be forced to go to things like elevator pitches. Because I don't know anything about it. So I have to therefore try to seduce you with my elevator pitch in 30 seconds or less. That's what's hard. It's stupid. But it's not stupid until you see that it's stupid. I want you to hear that. The guy with the bad breath didn't realize he had bad breath. But he had it all along. He just was clueless. He was acluistic. He was without a clue. 99% of the people that you see in business think their success comes down to how good they do what they do for a living. There's no evidence to support that whatsoever. Most of my time is not spent teaching people new things. It's helping people unlearn things that never served them to begin with. But they were beliefs. Can I give you my definition of a belief? People like to debate beliefs all day long. Pro-abortion, anti-abortion, Christian, Muslim, blah, blah, blah. People love to talk about the content of their beliefs with no understanding of what a belief itself is. I don't really care about your beliefs. What I care about is, do you understand what a belief is? Here's my definition of belief. And I'm totally open to another definition if you give me a better one, but this is the best one I've been able to come up with. A belief is a thought that you consider to be true, even though there's no evidence that it's true. Somebody prove me wrong. A belief, I'm not saying beliefs are bad. I'm not saying they're good. I'm just defining them. A belief is a thought considered to be true, although there's no evidence to prove that it's true. Well, Kevin, Jesus died for my sins. That's a belief. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying let's call a spade a spade. By the way, But Kevin, my beliefs are true. No, they're not, because if they were true, you wouldn't call them beliefs, you would call them facts. But that one's sinking. A belief is a thought considered to be true despite the lack of evidence to prove that it's true. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be helpful to actually understand what a belief is before you choose to adopt one and live your life based on it? Yeah, that might be really helpful. Well, Kevin, if I tell people I'm a Reiki master or a Reiki master, they're going to look at me like I'm some weirdo. That's a belief. She exhibited a belief. That's okay. But I didn't get sucked into it. I called it what it was. You're trying to read other people's minds. You have no evidence you can read other people's minds. No evidence of that whatsoever. Right? So most people live their entire lives based on beliefs. I couldn't think of anything scarier. That'll change your life if you hear what I'm saying. All I'm really saying is question your beliefs. It's Byron Katie 101. 4 questions in the turnaround. It's also a Course in Miracles. Question every thought. Not because, just because, wouldn't it be nice to know if there's any firm ground that it stands on? Right? That's another seminar that we'll have to bring you back to do another day. Skeptical guy. Here's Marjorie Crow. You're in agreement with me that she's never going to do business with me if I can't get into a conversation with her, correct? I'm going to give you 2 examples of how I could attempt to start a conversation with her. What's your first name? David. David. I'm going to give you 2 examples of how I could attempt to start a conversation with her. What I want you to do is I want you to tell me which of these 2 examples you think would have a greater likelihood of getting a reply. That's all I want. There's no guarantee I'm going to get a reply. I just want which one do you think might have a better chance. Here's example number 1. Hey Marjorie, my name's Bernie. I know a lot about facilities and electrical stuff. Want to hire me? How do you think that's going to go?
No.
Like a fart in a phone booth. It's what you've been trained to do your entire business life. You've been trained to do that. Most of my clients are very type A. And when I use that silly example, they usually go, Kevin, don't be stupid. I would never be that blunt with a prospect. I say, you are that blunt with prospects all day long. You just don't realize it, and I'll prove it. If you have phone calls that don't get returned, emails that go into a black hole, and prospects that join the witness relocation program, I can assure you, you might like to think that you're a little bit more eloquent than that ridiculous example I just gave, but the results indicate, the lack of results indicate that you have commission breath. Most people in business have no understanding of how bad their commission breath smells. Even though all the evidence is staring them in the face. Oh, my marketing must not be working. No, you're walking up to strangers and trying to kiss them. Most people in business are trying to kiss on the first date. You say it a little stronger. Most people in business are actually using tongue. Kevin, you're funny. Yeah, I'm funny because I know a little humor in it. The truth hurts. You've been trained to try to walk up to strangers, seduce them with your elevator pitch or your marketing or whatever form of bullshit you're using, and cause them to immediately do business with you. Let me ask you the simplest question in the world. How's it working? David, is there a Mrs. David? What's her first name? I want you guys to see this. If you really see what I'm about to show you, it will change your life. David, you did my 3 steps with Kristen. You just didn't realize it. And I'll prove it. When you met Krista, were you attracted to Krista? The pause is making me concerned. Were you attracted to Krista when you first laid eyes on Krista?
Yes.
Did you grab her and start kissing her?
No.
Why not? You manipulative, hidden agenda kind of guy. No, he isn't a manipulative hit. You just don't walk up to a pretty girl named Krista that you've never met before and start trying to kiss her. By the way, you've been trained to do that in business your entire life. What you did with Krista, tell me if I'm right or wrong, is you didn't grab her, even though you were attracted to her, you started a conversation. Apparently you didn't blow it. You started a conversation, and I'm going to predict that it escalated to a cup of coffee, a movie, some dates, but at some point, you and Krista kissed. Have you kids?
This is our second year.
I'm going to guess you probably went beyond the kiss at some point, anyway, okay? But the point I'm making here with a little bit of humor, listen to this, is that gravity only works one way. These 3 steps that I'm showing you, by the way, you want to know when he kissed Krista? I'll tell you exactly when he kissed Krista. He kissed Krista when he established enough moral trust. Now, he didn't think of it in those clinical terms. But what I find is most people on this planet are operating under a belief. What's a belief? It's a thought you consider to be true, even though there's no evidence that it's true. Most people on this planet are operating under a belief that things work different in business than they work out of business. That is insanity. That's like telling me, Kevin, the gravity in my home works different than the gravity in my office.
Right.
You're going to have a hard time selling it. See, what you don't realize, although you're getting an understanding of it now by listening to this weirdo named Kevin Knebl, is that you've been trying to violate the natural law of your entire business life. You've been trying to be good. And what I'm pointing you to is you've innocently forgotten what you understood on the playground in 5th grade. Everything you ever needed to know about how to be as successful as you want to be in business, you probably had figured out by 5th or 6th grade on the playground. Because in 5th and 6th grade on the playground, you didn't run up to people and go, want to play on the monkey bars? But before you do, could I see your mom's piano? Does your dad drive a Mercedes? Did your mom have a Rolex? You weren't worried about these outward signs of trying to impress people. And look at me, I got my monogram on my cuff. You know how to build friendships. You ran up to people. You want to play in the monkey bars, Christine? Christine's like, no, I don't. I'm like, all right, great. Jackie, you want to play in the monkey bars? She's like, yeah, great. Let's go play in the monkey bars. But I don't need therapy because Kristen doesn't want to play on the monkey bar a little bit. Oh my God, what's that mean about me? Welcome to the human race. That's the human race. Oh, she doesn't want to play monkey bars with me? Maybe I should take a seminar on body language. Maybe I should do a workshop on how to increase my self-confidence. Maybe you should just burn your money. Maybe you should just understand that all things being equal, people do business with and refer people that they don't like to trust, become more comfortable with who you are and let the chips fall. You will get rich. Okay? You did the 3 steps. David, you did the 3 steps with Krista. You did the 3 steps with every client you've ever gotten. You just never thought of it this way. Every job you've ever had, you did the 3 steps. At some point, you crossed paths with somebody in a position of authority to offer you a job. You started a conversation. You demonstrated that you were capable of doing the job while not exhibiting any signs of being an axe murderer. They hired you. The hardest part for people to get that I'm teaching is the all-encompassing nature of what I'm teaching. It's gravity. I started off the session today telling you I was the top salesperson for 4 different companies in 4 different industries, including being the top salesperson in the world for an international consulting company with 350 salespeople in 15 countries. It amazes me as I run around the world and I look at audiences and I go, what does that really say about me? How wrong the answers are. Oh, Kev, you must be really salesy. No, I'm the opposite of salesy. Fine, I look at what salespeople do and I do exactly the opposite. Right? That's the smartest course of action. Watch what 95% of humanity does and do the opposite. If they had the evidence that it worked, there would be evidence, but there's no evidence. Go in the opposite direction, right? How in the world could a piano player become the top salesperson in 4 separate industries? Obviously, I'm not a black belt in these 4 industries. I know just enough to sell whatever it is I'm selling, but I doubled down on know, like, trust. Because I knew if I figured out the know, like, trust part, then no matter what it is that I chose to do for a living, I would succeed at it. Does that make sense? If I tomorrow did what you do for a living, Bernie, but tomorrow I wanted to do this whole electrical facility, whatever the hell it is you do, I'm going to say something that's going to offend some people because of their fragile ego. I would be the most successful person in Colorado doing that. Kevin, that's pretty cocky. No. Me telling you it's going to go straight down when I drop it isn't cocky, because I understand the principle of gravity. I understand that if I got into facility, whatever it is, it's still just going to be these 3 steps. It's never, if I did Reiki, however I pronounce it, I never quite know how to pronounce that word. I usually get, how do I pronounce it? Reiki. If I became a Reiki practitioner, I know, number one, I have to have ways to find people. People have to have ways to find me. There's no way around that. Once I find them or they find me, I'm going to have to get them to talk to me. They're never just going to hire me without us having some kind of conversation. They're not just going to drop money out of the sky. And I'm going to have to build a little bit of know, like, trust before they're ever going to let me allow me to touch their body or not touch their body because I'm doing energy healing or whatever the hell I'm doing. Can you see that these 3 steps are just as applicable for Jackie as a consultant as they are for airplane lady in the back of the room? The hardest part for most people is they're operating under a belief. Well, Kevin, you don't know what it's like in my industry. Oh, I'm sorry, does gravity work different in your industry? Well, Kevin, you don't know what it's like in Texas. Well, Kevin, you don't know what it's like to be a man but identify as a woman that identifies as a man, right? You know, make it as complex as you want. Anybody catch that one? It's just gravity. That's all it is. When you don't understand this, you are fighting gravity. You're going to lose. I'm supposed to be done. Is that correct? Am I supposed to be done? I am? Can I have 60 more seconds? I have to answer David's question. Obviously, example 1 is not going to work with that one. It's not going to work with any fully functioning rational human being, even though you've been trained to do that. What if I said something like this? Hey, Marjorie, my name's Bernie. I was playing around with LinkedIn and I came across your profile because I noticed we had a couple of things in common, so I thought I would extend my hand in friendship. I noticed we both live and work in Colorado. I noticed we have some mutual friends, even though we've never met. I've noticed that we do some similar work in similar industries, and I noticed we both like to travel. I'm so glad that COVID is coming to an end because my wife and I are thinking about going to France. I'd love to hear of you any plans for where you're planning on going. Anyway, if you're ever in my part of the state, give me a shout. I'll buy the first round at Starbucks. Go Broncos, have a nice life. Bernie. Which of those 2 messages do you think might have a better chance of getting a reply? Why did the second one have a better chance of getting a reply? Now, different people in this room have different perceptions of what you just heard me say. Was there anything that I said in that even sounded remotely salesy to anyone in this room? I'm okay with a yes, by the way. But if you say yes, understand it's not because of my words. It's because of your innate cynicism. Hear that? It's not what you say. I have no control. I'm not trying to be God. I have no control over whether she has an open mind or not. But I have total control over the words that come out of my mouth. So, in my opinion, there was no mention of my product or service. There was no mention of me asking for anything, offering anything other than a cup of coffee if she's in my area. I wasn't hitting on her. I wasn't exhibiting creepy behavior. I was just talking like a guy sitting next to somebody in an airport bar. That's all I was doing. Now, if she responds, which by the way, I have an 87% response rate on my first attempt at starting a conversation with a stranger, I monitor it. Been monitoring it for 25 years. It's one of the best things you could ever monitor. You could ever taught to monitor. Monitor your percentage rate of getting responses from strangers. You get better and better at it. And by the way, even if she doesn't respond, you don't have time for it today. But if she doesn't respond, Doesn't matter to me, because I just need to do step 3. We don't have time for this today, but I assure you, I've got a simple system to stay top of mind without ever being slick or salesy or awkward or creepy. So I want you to see, before we wrap it up, that these 3 steps are extremely practical. There's no trickery here. There's no salesiness. This is actually the opposite of salesiness. This is sincerity. This is what David did with Krista. He didn't try to walk up to a woman and kiss her. Did you ask Krista to marry you in the first 30 seconds? Then why would you walk up to a prospect and say, I think I could help you with your problem? Why wouldn't you just start a conversation like a normal, fully functioning, rational human being? And let's get a couple things in common, tell me a little bit about travel, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't respond. By the way, if she doesn't respond, do you think she's going to respond to your elevator pitch? Do you see that what I'm really teaching is a filtering mechanism? There's a lot of people out there that are so close-minded they can see through a keyhole with both eyes at the same time.
Yeah.
You want to work with those people? I don't. By the way, if you have clients or a boss that you don't like and you think is an idiot, I will tell you why you continue to work with them, because you think you need money. No rational person would willingly get up in the morning and say, I get to go work with Bernie and I hate Bernie. Every day for me is like Christmas. I wake up this morning, I get to talk to a bunch of people at Mile High Church. What could be done? Tomorrow I get to go golfing with Sam, this next Friday, Sam. Every morning, I don't have clients that I hate. I love my clients. It's like Christmas every day. So we're passing around this thing because we're going to draw a business card out, and I'm going to offer a free 1-hour consultation to somebody where I'll take you by the hand on Zoom, and I'll help you with LinkedIn or whatever the hell you want to talk about. If I can help, I want to help. I've overstayed my visit by 6 minutes. I apologize. So, in summary, all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Tattoo that on your forehead. And then get very good at catching yourself violating. Because the quicker you catch yourself violating, the quicker you stop violating. And you'll go, oh my God, I'm the one that's actually shooting myself in the foot. It's not Biden.
Okay.
It's not Trump. It's not COVID. It's not interest rates. It's me. I'm shooting myself in the foot because I think I understand no like trust, but I don't have a lot of evidence that I do. Again, if you ever want to talk about any of this, I'm not running out of here to the airport. I'm going to hang around like 1,000 degrees and get some of that ice water out of that bucket over there. I'm going to sit here with my daughter, my girlfriend, and her daughter. If you want to pick my brain, pick my brain. I'm not going anywhere. There's no skid marks in the park. Thanks for coming out. I love you. Well, you can't use the L word in business. That's belief. I use the L word in business all day long. You realize how much you operate your life under beliefs that have no evidence of factual data? You don't. But I can help you. Want to pick one? Or you want me to pick one? Or have my daughter pick one? My daughter pick one? Now, close your eyes
Can we
and pick
see
a
her?
card. Who is it? Bernie!
Bernie.
Oh my God, it's Bernie! Bernie, shoot me an email. We'll set up a Zoom meeting if you want that. If you don't want that, we'll give it to somebody else. We can do a video. That's a Zoom meeting, right? That's like a video call. All right, just email. We'll set it up, okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate your attention.
Thank you. Kevin Knebl, what a fantastic speaker today. Thank you so much.